Hi, I'm Samuel, and this is Duty. Have you signed up for the launch of There's an Alien in My Toilet on Kickstarter? I hope that you do. It's gonna be a hilarious ride. The link is in the summary. See you there. What's up, George? What's going on in the House of Craze tonight?
In the House of Craze tonight, we have Sarah Cooke, and we are going to be talking to her about her book, Magician's First Death, coming up next. And we're also going to be talking about burnout.
Right.
On, Get Your Meds. So that's up next.
Sarah, let's get it!
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your meds, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze. I'm your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George the Dreamer Medina. What's happening, Sam? What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Catch the Craze. We are back, and we have a very, very special guest tonight. Sarah Cooke will be on the show. We're going to be talking to her about her book, and we're going to be talking about a topic that I think affects all of us creators at some point, right? We're going to be talking about burnout and how to avoid some of that stuff, what we've done to avoid some of it, even though it still happens all the time. But we're going to do that. And don't forget that we have some announcements coming up, so I'm not even going to spoil them. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But what's going on with you, Sammy?
No.
How you doing, dog?
You don't remember that song, Sarah? No time is a good time for goodbyes. Sarah. Who sang it? Jefferson Starship.
Jefferson Starship. Never heard of Jefferson
Look it
Starship.
up. It's a great. Yo, dude, you don't remember?
Sarah.
You never. We talked about Delilah. We used to listen to Delilah. You remember Delilah?
Yeah, I remember
and
Delilah.
So people will call in. It's like, my girlfriend Sarah won't answer the phone anymore, and I really love her, and I want her to know I love her. And what would you like us to play for you? He's like, I love you to play for Sarah. So they will play. Boom. You don't remember that song?
No. But I do remember Delilah. I remember the she would come on with that voice, and she'd hook people up, man.
Yes.
People, who had just broken up with people. It's a sad. What was the name? I forget. It was like something after dark or something. I don't know what the hell the name of the show was, but yeah, it was
listened
on
to that. Yo, dude.
98.7 Kiss FM or some shit.
And that's what you youngins today don't get. You're too busy caught up in violence and drama. And back then it was about love. It was about wooing the girl. It was about bringing her the flowers. You don't bring me flowers anymore. It was about, you know what I'm saying? The girls, when I grew up, they had it covered up. They left everything to your imagination. Today, everything's everywhere. What the hell? Anyway, I get off my sandbox, get up, whatever.
Get off. Yeah, you're kind of an old man right now. Freaking shaming.
It's like, what the hell?
Bro, I'm gonna tell you this. Hey, man, girls are just getting us back. Girls are getting us back. We used to do it all the time back in the days. Now it's like, yo, it's my
turn. But then
baby.
on the flip side of the coin, complaining about the man has a wandering eye. He's not loyal. Well, You create that space.
Don't do it, Sam.
You create that space.
Don't go there. Don't not go there. Don't.
Don't go breaking my heart.
Don't go there, dog.
Anyway,
let's talk.
So what's going on?
Comics.
So right now it's all about Dudarius, right?
Yeah, let's talk about duty.
I'm gonna slip it. And we're gonna use it down the road. It's about Dudarius Uranius.
Oh, you crazy.
Are you telling me that
Yes. Yes.
Dudarius Uranius, or whatever the hell you
Yes.
just said, is his full name?
That's his full name.
This is what you've been keeping from us? The fact that his last name is the planet that he's from?
Yes.
Oh my God! What a way to freaking just let us know.
I know. Because I want to see, when we go live, I want to see how many people watch the show and actually break when we ask the question, how many people are paying attention.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's gonna go as
Spoiler alert. Spoiler.
One of our trivia questions further down the road whenever we're doing some kind of, maybe on February 15th when we go live to launch.
Who knows?
The campaign for Duty. There's an alien in my toilet, which is what we're talking about. For those who don't have no idea who this Dudarius person is, he is a character that is in a book called "There's an Alien in My Toilet."
You
if
too?
you're watching this, if you're watching this Friday the 14th, which is today, in about a month, this book will be out.
It's popping off.
Will be out.
And I got some surprises.
It will be on Kickstarter. It won't be out. It will be on Kickstarter. It'll be there for, what is it, a 21-day campaign or 20?
It's a 21-day campaign. Big shout out to Ray's Comics in California. Ray's Comics hit me up. It's a retailer in California. Hit me up on my Instagram and said they're going to be supporting and picking up the retailer's bundle. So big shout out to you, Ray's Comic. Thanks you so much for showing the love. And this was like preemptive, right? So if you're a retailer out there and you're watching this show, we have an amazing retail bundle on the campaign you want to take advantage of. And if you're also a retailer out there, and you're willing to put some bag stuffers in for all your customers, I can send you a bunch of postcards promoting the campaign. Let me know, and I'll send it out.
Yeah, so that's happening on February 15th. So if you are watching this right now, there is a link at the bottom. You're going to hit that link. It's going to go to a page that says Notify Me.
Yes.
That page will then, once the campaign goes live, you will be getting an email from Kickstarter saying that the campaign is live, at which point you will be able to pledge to the campaign. So make sure you go in here at the bottom, hit that link so that you are notified when this campaign does in fact go live. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time. There's an alien in my toilet is coming back. So yeah, Sam. So what do you got going on in the campaign? What's some of the things?
Sam doing? Sam doing? Yo, I had some leftover spike eggnog. Yo,
so you feeling
I'm
nice
feeling
right now?
Nice. I feel like Martin from Bad Boys.
Okay. You're like, Mike, tell her I'm on the way.
I'm on the way. He goes, you have nice fish.
Yeah, that's you right now. You are litty.
It's like Captain.
Oh man.
Yeah, the campaign's hot. There's coloring books. There's a guidebook with it's the characters in the series from NPOW, right? NPOW, which is Nasty Piece of Work. That's a group that's out there. They have WANA. We Are Not Alone. That's another organization that's out there in the campaign. You have John Doe, who is the Inspector Doe. He's basically tasked with finding duty. So you get all the character bios in there. So there's a trading card set, and it's the first volume in a series of sets. There's going to be about 12 volumes or more of trading card packs, and which link to the trading card game. Which will be a board game, and it's going to be a rule book, a playbook, and the whole bit. So the guidebook is a jump start, and the first volume is a jump start into the future characters and the future cards that you can expect to come. So if you're a gamer, tabletop gamer, you love trading card games, this is in there for you. There's also a retailer's bundle. I mean, not a retailer. There's also an educator's bundle. So for all you schools, Duty likes education and likes to make it fun. So there's learning in there. There's trivia. There's puzzles in there. So there's an educator's bundle. So if you're out there, teachers, get this for your class. It's all ages, fun, and why can't education be fun? And we need to make it fun with all this crazy talk in schools and putting all this unneeded pressure on all these educators. Let's bring something fun into the classrooms and get the kids smiling again, and and get playing. So there's a lot of good stuff in this campaign.
Nice. Yeah. We're going to be talking more in depth about that for those who are like, what the hell are you guys talking about? There will be on February 14th on the actual show where we're going to be breaking everything down. We'll have a lot more to talk about in that area. So that's good, man. It sounds like it's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it. You know, if you haven't signed on yet, please do so. It's a very fun book. It's been around for a while. Dude, he's not a newbie. He's been around.
Been around the world and not
yeah. So Sam is bringing it back for a second time around. So let's see how he does. Make sure you support it.
So Duty had a cult following, right? So, you know, when you think about it, I would consider it underground exposure. Now, with the help of Kickstarter, I'm hoping to bring it to a broader audience. So, you know, this campaign is going to help allow, and that's why the retailer bundle is so important. In fact, next week, I'm hitting up a dozen retailers in Texas. I'm driving out to and dropping off bag stuffers to promote the campaign. And I didn't realize within driving distance how many comic shops there are. You know, it's like more power to Texas.
Well,
all hail Texas.
Like, yeah, how many? You become a Texan.
Yeah.
How many? Like when you say within how many miles? You said how many?
So within an hour drive any which way from me. So whether it's a 10-minute drive to up to an hour's drive from me in any direction, there's 28 stores.
28 stores. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a
lot. I'm hitting a dozen. I'm hitting a dozen next week. So.
Yeah. But Texas is big. So
massive.
There's so much room. It's not like New York where like everything's on top of each other. I think you guys said.
Yeah, there's so many, and then some of them are like in the weirdest, like looks like a shack in the middle of the road, and it says comic store, you know Michael's Comics, and you wouldn't even think, it's in the middle of whatever, but it's popping, and they get a lot of comic book fans, and so so I'm just waiting for the postcards to come in the mail, and I will be driving to them next week, and I have the QR codes, and hopefully I get a good percentage of the fans that go to those comic shops and that they'll go and sign up for the campaign.
Nice. Yeah, dude.
It's the grassroots stuff that we talked about on the show. It's the hustle.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Every
That's
day,
the stuff. I mean, as long as there are brick and mortar stores, as long as there are these stores out there, we'll be able to do this kind of stuff where people can go in. I mean, it's you have to go with the times though, right? So you have QR codes now. Where like back before when we were doing this, there was no such thing as QR codes. You put your website on the thing and that was it. Whereas here, you can actually go into the store and with your cards with that information in it, and and nobody has to type anything out. Now they just put their phone up to it, and it'll take you right to the page. Yeah. So now that QR code has the pre-launch page or the actual page?
The pre-launch page.
Ooh, okay.
But it doesn't matter because Kickstarter automatically, when you click that in the campaign's live, it automatically goes to the campaign page.
Oh, good. Okay. I was gonna say, damn, you got to print that on a whole bunch of other cards.
No.
That'd
So,
be freaking nuts.
and also, I just want to give a shout out to Ray's Comics because they did say that, hey, if I ever want to do a book signing in their store, that they would welcome me with open arms. So I'm doing something special just for them. And in fact, I sent out a package already to them of the bag stuffers. But when they support the campaign, I'm gonna hit you off with something special because you didn't have to. And you're going above and beyond, and so I just want to say thank you and show my appreciation.
Yeah, awesome, bro, awesome. So that's happening on February 15th, and like I said, at show notes, click on the link so you can go ahead and get notified when that campaign goes live. The other thing that we're doing is obviously my book, The Adventures of Wonderduck.
Yes,
Mr.
that's right.
Wonderduck. So that campaign isn't live yet. It won't be live till the spring, but there's a pre-launch campaign up. So go to the page.
It's also in the summary.
Show notes. Yeah, in the show notes. Click on the link and follow it. Get notified.
And
go ahead.
To shut you down, but on the actual page of the campaign for There's Nail in My Toilet, when we go live, there's also a link to be able to sign up for Wonderduck as well. So it's going to be a nice thumbnail. I'm still waiting for George to send me that thumbnail, but I already have the link already live because I created remember the old G.I. Joe what is it called? File cards on the back of the action
Oh,
figure.
I love that.
So I created
I
that
love
for
those
I
things.
created that for you and me on the duty.
Okay.
So I put letterer, colorist, George, but I did it just like one of those GI Joe things.
I used to love those things. Yeah.
And then and it's clickable. So and that goes directly to your Wonderduck.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So you'll be able to click that. There'll be also be a thumbnail below that showing you the Wonderduck graphic to drive you directly to his campaign. And for all of you Medina fans, he did the cover for issue number 1 on The Nail in My Toilet, and he actually colored the book and lettered the book. So, so if you're a George Medina fan, you need to get this one.
The Medina fan, man. I'll be, it's gonna be cool. I'm looking forward to that. And again, as the year goes by, we're gonna be piggybacking on each other's campaigns. So on the campaign for Wonderduck, you'll see links for the next campaign that we have going on. So we're gonna be,
and that's up for debate right now.
What's next, right? What's gonna be next?
That's up for debate, funny. Because I had one thing in my mind, and George planted a seed in another thing. So I was like, you know what? Let's see what happens with duty, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. No, hey, listen, the year is young, so we'll see what happens from now until the spring.
But there's
so we got a lot of exciting stuff going on, and thank you to every single one of you guys who keep subscribing to the channel. It's growing. It's actually growing pretty fast in the last couple of days.
Yes, I'm glad you said that because I'm going to go to YouTube Studio. The most recent subscribers, I just want to give you guys a shout out really quick. See all. I'm going to it. Get this out the way. Subscriber count, date, subscribe. All right. So today, so we had, they're not showing some of the newest ones from today. Why? I wonder why. Today's the 11th. Where are we now?
Well, it's airing on the 14th, so we're confused.
Yeah, today's 14th.
But it's we pre-record these things, guys.
Oh yeah, no. Hold on one second. Yeah. So we're at 514 right now. Whoa! So we got a couple of new subscribers today. Some of you guys are hidden, so I can't give you a shout out. So I can't see your accounts because you got it as private accounts. But the ones who are not private, Sketched Fed Studios, thank you so much. Earth's Best Entertainment, thank you so much. Hannah Strauss, Be Kind, Rewatch, Hooked on Jano, were all for 2022. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in 2022 that are not private accounts. I just want to say thank you so much for showing love to your boys at the House of Craze. And today, there's some that I can see, so they might be private. Let's see. So Toy Time Entertainment was today, and also RVA_NI. So thank you all of you guys so much for subscribing to the channel. We hope that you stick around for the long haul because this show is going to get bigger and better with a lot of amazing independent guests in all media. So thank you so much.
Yeah. If you guys have been following the show and watching the show, you know that we do live shows for Kickstarters that are coming out. We also do our pre-recorded shows, which air every Friday. Sam's doing a great job with the What's in the Box. That stuff is blowing up. We got tons of indie books on that. It's all indie books. Like Sam is a big proponent of the indies, so it's gonna be all indie books. So
down with the mainstream.
Yeah. Now, don't get it twisted. The What's in the Box is not a critique of the book. So you're not looking for, I'm giving this book 5 stars. No. It's not that. It's just a fun way to read through the book, hit some points. Sam has some questions about some of the characters that are in there. It's not a knock on the writing. It's just him being him. So it's a fun show. Check it out. There's tons of episodes out there already. So go to the channel. Make sure you check that out.
Yes.
What else is going on?
I got a trademark on that style for What's in the Box. So don't try to mimic my style out there. All right, you in these anyway?
Hey man, it's like what they say. It's sometimes what is it? Something is the best form of flattery. It's I guess when they copy
imitation.
You, it's the best. Imitation is the best form of flattery. So there you go. So
imitate this.
If you do find some imitators out there, they just they like what you do.
Yes.
But then there's a the Crazy in 10 or less, different topics. 10 minutes or less with Sam, one-on-one, where he just goes off the top of the dome piece with some research. Well, not off the top of the dome because there is some research done on those things. Yeah. So check that out. That's on the channel.
The most recent one was this week. It was recommended by Paul Gomez, and it was how do you, if you're not an artist and you're just a writer, how do you find an inker, colorist, and artist?
That's right.
And and how do you match them to the book? So I just did that topic. That's live now. It went out on Monday. So thank you, Paul Gomez, and again for everybody out there. You have topics you want me to go into, just hit me up, and I will do my due diligence for you.
Yeah, no, awesome. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff on the channel, which brings us to the next part of the show, which is the Get Your Meds segment. So we're gonna do that next.
Yes, let's do it.
It's time for your medicine.
Let's avoid burnout.
Yes.
What do you mean by that, George?
How do we do it, right? How do we do it? Sammy looks fresh, like a bunny right now. He's jumping
fresh,
around. He looks refreshed. My man's got stuff going on this. Look at it. He's smiling again. For a while, Sam was not looking like this.
Nope.
Sam was looking very down, very like, he was burning out.
Forbidden burned me out.
Why were you getting burnt out? Why? What was it? I mean, and I think that as an indie, it's easy to get burnt out, right? Because we are constantly grinding, trying to get our stuff out there. If we're not working on our 9-to-5 jobs, which a lot of us have, we are working on our stuff, after hours. You're not sleeping, you're not eating, because all you're doing is this.
Yes.
You're trying to get your book out. If you're an artist, you're drawing. If you're a writer, you're writing. If you're a letterer, but you're not stopping. And if you do all of those things, then you're doing all of those things till all kinds of hours. So how do we avoid it? What do we do? What did you do to keep you from, or to revive? I mean, you burned out for a while, but now you're back. So what was it that you did, Sam, to get you back to this point?
Well, let's go back before we go forward. So a lot of things that contributed to my burnout was, number one, lost my job. Company went belly up, bankrupt, and so then I decided to be a brokepreneur. Right, so that was number one. Right, so I decided to be a brokepreneur, get into 2 car wrecks. Roof gets damaged, plumbing gets damaged. House is costing me an arm and a leg. Build a new studio, then decide to uproot and give it all up and move to Texas. Now I'm a brokepreneur. All my money went on that house for repairs, and now I'm going to Texas and starting all over again, right? So now I had to sell a house, buy a house, move a house, right? And then build a new studio and keep running the podcast and keep drawing. And then being out here for 3 months on my own as my wife was in New Jersey because she was still working. So I'm running everything by myself with the dogs, with the animals, with the new house, with the new bills, with all this stuff. Still selling the old house, doing all this other stuff, right? Still trying to run a campaign for Forbidden. Still trying to run the podcast. I was burning both ends of the candle. And, wine and rum were my friends. And it came off on some of the shows. You can see it on me. And then my wife coming home, my sister came with her. They drove here from New Jersey. And my sister spent 2 weeks with us for the holidays, for Christmas and New Year's. And I shut everything down and I focused on the family. And, we sat outside. We lit a fire in the yard every night. In the mornings, I made breakfast for them. We would have, French toast and, turkey bacon. And we would sit down together. We would pray together and have laughs. We'd have dinner together and laughs. We went to the lake. We went to this indoor. It's like a mall, but it's kind of retro. That we hung out and we had seafood and, got popcorn, we did movies together. It was fun to be normal again in a world where it's just crazy. So I think the outside world was driving me nuts, trying to figure out how to grow this was driving me nuts. Forbidden not doing as well as I wanted to was driving me nuts, all these things. And then, but it was the time with the family that really helped me reset.
Yeah, and listen, man, we talk all the time off air, and I don't have all the answers. None of us do, right? You got to do whatever works for you. But I'm a huge proponent. I'm a huge fan of like sports, right? I love sports, and I always my girlfriend's like, your analogies are always sports related. And it's like, because I think just sports teaches you a lot about freaking life. Right. Losing, winning, teamwork, all that stuff is in sports. But I say that because burnout, I think, happens when you go too hard for too long. If an athlete is on a basketball court for too long, eventually his legs are going to get tired. The jump shot is going to get affected. He's not going to be able to make any shots because he is tired. He needs to sit down. Time out. Let me go sit down. The game will continue. I'm on the bench, but I'm re-energizing. And then when you get back in the game, you're back. I know that a lot of the fears that I think independents have is that if I stop working, I know, Sam, we've spoken about this. If you stop working, somebody else is going to be working while you're not working.
100%.
You can't always have that mentality, because what happens is if you keep working when you're tired, it's gonna affect the product. It's gonna be affected by that, right? Because you don't have any energy to give it your all. And I think that it's great that you were able to do that, bro, because I think we all need to just step away for a little bit and just recharge. And that was great. I'm glad that your family was there, because that's important too. And for those out there who don't have family, friends, call up a friend. You know what I mean? Like, hey, dude, you want to go catch this movie? Want to go catch that Spider-Man movie? You know, do something else other than what you're doing in front of your computer. Otherwise, you are going to burn out. We're human. We're not robots.
I mean,
we're not robots.
Yeah. And I think that's number one. It helped me to clear the cobwebs and see things clear. Because when you're in, it's like a mad scientist. When you're in there, and you just can't get that. You can't get Frankenstein to come to life, and you're constantly like, what the hell? And then you stamp everything and you walk out. And you say, I'm giving up. And then like a week later, it's like, that's what I'm missing. And then you walk in, you know. And I think one of the things that helped me was we had a rule, you know, put the phones down, let's just have family time, blah, 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 whatever. Yeah. And then, you know, my sister, when she would have to go on her phone, because she has kids, so she would go up to the guest room and she'd go on the phone for a couple of hours or whatever. That was my cue to go and update anything I needed to do social media wise. Right. But what I did was a lot more research. So I did more learning. And I was like, all right, let me go out there and figure out this. I've been struggling with this for so long. There's got to be an answer somewhere out there on the great wide Google. So let me go out there and look for it. So I took more time just to invest in my education as well. So 2 hours a day, I would focus on trying to learn something that I can take to help build this. Even now, because Zoom goes away in a week, and so does Restream, and we're going straight to StreamYard. And so now, the show's going to look different on StreamYard. It's not going to look as polished as it looks like right now, because I'm using it through OBS. And StreamYard with OBS, I have to use third-party applications that they don't have for Mac yet. So that means I'm going to have to rely on StreamYard. So I got to figure out what is our template going to look like on StreamYard. So that's my next thing. You know, can I still get as close to this look as possible? Can I get away? So that's that next learning curve, because the account which Restream and Zoom ends on the 25th. So, you know, and it's also savings, because I'm using two platforms to do this. And I'm like, you know what, I'm going to go with Stream. StreamYard doesn't give me all the benefits of Restream. The problem with Restream is that when we did a live with Restream on its platform, most of our guests were dropping out. Remember? So I was like, that's why I never used it again. It's like, well, you know, it's unstable to me, so we're going straight to StreamYard. So that's the next thing. You know, so there's always something that you have to overcome. But now, because I'm having fun, you know, before,
that's what it is.
Before it felt like a lot of work. It just felt like a lot of work and no payoff.
Yeah.
You know, now it just feels like fun.
It's one thing to work for somebody and hate it, but you're getting paid. It's another thing to work for yourself, hate it, and not get paid.
Yes.
That'll burn you out quickly, even quicker, right? Because at that point, you're not seeing any results. There's no money coming in. So now you're just doing all this stuff for free, and for what? What's the point? So it's easy to turn around and say, what am I doing? Like, should I be doing this anymore? This is crazy. So, yeah, I mean, for anybody watching who's wondering, yo, what the hell, man, I'm starting to burn out, step away. Step away from the computer. Step away from all of it. For whatever amount of time you need, bro. You need the time to just kind of you know, recharge. That's, you know, you need it. You definitely gonna need that. So I think how do you avoid burnout? Just step away.
Yeah, you know? I think that's what it is. And you know, and then you know, having my wife back home. You know, that was a burden on me because of all the drama in New York, on the East Coast, and all that's the violence and the crime. and the poor leadership in New York and all that stuff. So all that stuff bothered me. Her safety was always my concern. And then having her back home, it took that that stress off my shoulders. I don't have to worry because now she's within my sights. And so that was another thing that bothered me as well. So there was all those things on top of it, and even now, like, figuring out the game, figuring out how to grow it, and I'm really happy with how we're trending with Catch the Craze. I'm really happy. Some of the platforms, some of the social media platforms weren't working for me in 2021, which are now working for me in 2022. So it was maybe my complaining enough, but it was like, all right, what's going on? Why do you keep denying my post? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? So overcoming all those hurdles, and then figuring out the crowdfunding game. And then now the next thing is what happens in 2022 with conventions, because the rules change every day.
Yeah, I think, but it's like you were saying, like, I think a clear mind, allows you to see those things, better, like to be able to overcome some of those things are done because you have a clear mind. You're looking at it through a different set of eyes now. It's like, oh, what I didn't see before. It's like you've ever like been editing or reading something that you wrote and or writing something and you're like, I don't have it, and then you step away and it's like, oh, okay, now I see it clear. Now I see it. It's the same thing. I think that I think part of it is just we're too hard on ourselves. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves. We bring all that and all that baggage. It clouds your mind and it clouds your creativity. How can you be creative if you have all of that stuff on your mind, right? Like how could you be creative if you are constantly thinking about the safety of your wife? How can you be creative? You're thinking about that, even though you may not want to, and you're sitting at your desk and you think you're working, but nothing's really happening because you have all of that other stuff.
Sleeping was a hard thing to do. I mean, because
you need that.
Yeah, I mean, I would get up every hour, because it was so much on my mind. Not only that, when we first got here, had the bobcats and had the coyotes and the mountain lions. Then we had the tornado scare and all these things. The whole new environment, in New York. I just had to worry about derelicts. Over here, I have to worry about now, animals. And I was like, what?
There's gonna be stress everywhere.
I was like, what the hell is going on? I didn't close on my house in New Jersey until the end of November. But I moved here in August. So it was like. Carrying all that stuff. So yeah, I think the biggest thing is depression is real, guys, and you got to find a way to find an outlet, a creative space, a quiet space of whether it's family, friends, church, a therapist, whatever it is. You got to find that way to get it out. And I think for me, family's huge for me, and fitness is huge for me. So if I didn't have my workout equipment in the garage that I can just go to every day, every morning, and get that up, because that's the time where I get to. It's almost like meditation. It's like therapy for me. So I work out and I'm listening to all these motivational podcasts, and I'm getting my grind on, and it helps me prepare for the day. You know what I mean? Because when I'm done with it, So when I'm done with it, I'm like, all right, I got this, I got that. I have this little notepad that I keep with me, this little notebook, and I fill out what's on my list for today, bum, 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 bum. And then I go down the list and I check them off. Did I do this? Did I do that? Lists. I remember yesterday I was like, I had a list, and then I was like, wait, I did everything, but then it was like 9:00 at night. I was like, and I'm tired, and I had a few sips of that damn eggnog, and I'm like, I didn't update the website. Shit. So I did it 9:00 at night. I said, I'm going to update the damn website because I put it on my list, and I didn't want to go to bed with that list because then I wouldn't be able to sleep. And I did it, but you got to find that creative outlet.
That, and I think you have to have the discipline too. Like when we say, step away from it, doesn't mean step away from it and never come back to it. Like, you know what I mean? You got to love what you're doing, right? If you're serious about what you're doing, it's good to walk away. It's good to step away from it, but you got to come back. Otherwise you're not going to finish what you started. And that's one thing about indies, right? That's the stigma, right? We don't finish what we start. We quit. We what happens to the second issue, whatever. And to avoid that, we get burned out, we get tired, step away, but come back. Come back and finish. Come back and finish. You have to finish. You have to.
Don't leave anything unfinished. And even like the other day, I got really burnt out because I didn't want to rely on my Mac to go online, so I was setting up my PC on the other side to go online to draw, and that's a no to that question, and to draw, and but not the mics weren't working, and nothing was working. So I was so stressed out. I was trying everything and everything. I had to go get a separate headset with a microphone just for that station. So what I did was I really wanted to go online and draw. So I went downstairs, set up two of my phones and my two phones, and I set it up on my kitchen table, and I started drawing. I went live on Facebook and on Instagram simultaneously, and I found a way to go online. Now I didn't get the other platforms, Twitch, YouTube and all that stuff, but I was still able to accomplish what I set out to do. Right. After spending 2 hours trying to figure that out and getting pissed off, I just couldn't leave something unfinished. I wanted to do it. It was on my list, and I did it. And it was 45 minutes. Went online, draw, talked to whoever was in the chat. Boom. But there's always a way. There's always a workaround. You just got to be creative and not just get fed up and throw your hands in the air.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, so burnout is real. Try to step away from whatever it is that you're doing. Try to, like Sam said, listen to, whether it's a podcast, whether it's working out, whatever it is that's going to help you recharge. Do that. Go out there and do that. Don't be shy not to do it. Don't be saying, oh no, I gotta work. I can't. That's gotta wait. I can't. Yeah, I always what I try to do, and I tell Sam all the time, my thing is, whether it's watching a show on Disney Plus or HBO Max or something like that, because that also keeps me creative. You know what I mean? Like, so I do that. I do a lot of that. I like to do that, calling Sam on the phone. I'll do that. Yeah. Well, I'll just talk while I'm working during the day. That'll keep me motivated for what I got to do later on as I'm working. So, yeah, I mean, find your way. You're going to find it, but definitely come back to your work. Don't quit. Don't stop. Mental health is real, Sammy. You definitely need to, keep a fresh mind. Work your mind out, just like you work your body, right? Your mind also needs that workout. So try to stay active in that way also. But yeah, man, that's what burnout. That's what this conversation about burnout is. And if you guys have any questions, any comments, post them down below, and we can continue the conversation. Maybe Sam can do a what's in the box, a crazy intent or less.
Crazy intent or less.
Diving deeper into it. What helped you out and what you do to help yourself.
And
out.
I see that our guest is in the waiting room, so we're gonna cut to a commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna bring in Sarah Cooke. So let's see. Let's do this.
A funny thing happened to me on my way to invading Earth. I am your worst nightmare. Believe that.
All right. We're bringing in our guest. There she is. Welcome.
Hey, Sarah, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
How's it going?
Good. Nice to meet you. I'm George. That's Sam. And everybody watching, welcome back. Catch the Craze. We're here with Sarah Cooke. We're going to be talking to her about her book, her endeavors in this creative world. So Sarah, really quickly before we start, just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi. So I have been a fan of comics for a long time, and I've written about comics and covered them for a bunch of different outlets at this point. I was a blogger for Marvel for a while, which was super exciting. I got to interview some really exciting creators. I've done a couple blogs for DC. I've written for Women Write About Comics and some other places. And just done a lot of kind of entertainment writing in general. And some other creative writing. I co-created a web series, but this will be my first comic, nice. Which I'm very excited about.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, it's funny because like we're all fans of the comic book genre, right? Of comic books and stuff. What was your first comic that you remember kind of hooking you and saying, oh man, I need to do more. I need to do this. What was the comic book that did that for you?
I think the first one was probably Sandman.
Yeah.
That was the first one I really fell in
Interesting.
love with.
Nice. What was it about Sandman?
I think part of it was just that there's so many different types of stories in it, and it just really kind of fascinated me how he could weave different stories into this kind of overarching narrative, and just the characters too. I loved Death. I mean, she's still one of my favorite characters in comics. And I got really emotionally attached to it. And it just really drew me in.
Nice. Is that one of those books that you read like constantly? Like, do you find yourself reading it, like going back and reading it again? Sort of like almost like what I do with books. Sometimes, like one of my favorite books is like it's Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I'll read that book like once a year. Like I love reading that book. Is Sandman like that for you? Do you go back and you find yourself reading that over and over again?
I reread it in parts. I want to go back and kind of reread it a little more fully before the series comes out, whenever that happens. But I'll go back and I'll reread parts of it for sure.
What was I know that you're a writer. So did you go to any kind of did you have any kind of schooling for creative writing, or was that something that you just kind of did on your own?
Yeah, I have an MFA in creative writing I went to Naropa University in Boulder. My concentration actually was in poetry, which I still write some poetry and I enjoy that a lot too. But I kind of always wanted to get into fiction and found my way around to comics eventually.
Well, who's your favorite poet?
There's so many. It's so hard. I really like Anais Nin. I love I was at the school at Naropa's, the Jack Kerouac School for Disembodied Poetics is the full title of it. So we read a fair amount of beat poetry and all of that, which I always enjoyed too.
So you mentioned you went to school in Boulder. What was it like?
I liked Boulder. I did the low residency program, so I did summers there, and then the rest of the year I was moving around a lot. I was in Vermont, and then I was in California, but I did my summers in Boulder, and I liked it a lot. It's a fun city. It's really pretty, and lots of cool little kind of music venues and little cafes and things. It was a fun place to be.
Yeah, nice. Yes, that was one of the places on my list when I was thinking about where would I want to move to. But when I started thinking about the winters, I was like, you know what? Let me change my mind. So I decided on Texas.
I'm enough to be there for the winters.
Yes.
Yes. Those winters can be brutal out there. Yeah. I'm sure. What? So all right. So you're doing you were doing a lot of this blog writing, right? Mm-hmm. You got into your creative writing. What was the first, I guess, indie comic that you created and you wrote and you I don't want to say self-published, but that you wrote and completed?
Yeah, the first one that I wrote was a script that I didn't do anything with. It was my first shot at it, and I just didn't think that it was quite up to the level where I wanted it to be to really try to get it published. But it was a high fantasy. It was lots going on with elves and fairies and that whole kind of scene. And I think it was a learning process. I wrote that script, and then I wrote a sci-fi kind of X-Files-ish script that I felt like was definitely a step up from the first one. And I still kind of feel like I might go back and revisit that at some point and get it to a little more polished place. And then I wrote the one I'm working on now. Nice. And that's been over the last few years that I've written those.
Right. So gotcha. There's some keywords. Now you said X-Files-ish. Were you a fan of X-Files?
I was, yeah.
So who was your favorite character? Did you have a favorite episode of X-Files, or was just the entire thing?
Scully was my favorite character, for sure. And she's, I think, one of my favorite characters in TV in general.
Yes.
A lot of the episodes, there are so many good episodes. I think the one that always kind of stands out for me the most is the season 3 finale. Mm-hmm. The one where Mulder's trapped in that train car and it explodes and you think he dies. all very exciting.
Yes,
I think character development is so important when you're writing, and I think that because those characters stay with you. Like you may not, you know, you may not remember an episode, but you remember what that character was doing in that episode, or you know what I mean. Like, how do you approach your characters? Like, what is your approach when you're creating a character? Do you do like the thing where like, okay, what were they doing when they were 10 years old, and then you move forward from that age, or is it more broad? Like, how do you handle your characters?
With the main character of Magician's First Death, I do have her childhood in my head, largely because it's relevant to the story. The other kind of main character, I don't necessarily have his childhood planned out in my head, but I do have some of his history sort of plotted out before the comic takes place. And I think doing a certain amount of that is important. At least it helps me. I think I also try to think about it a lot in terms of what's the arc that I want to take them on over the course of the story. So, and kind of, I guess, where are they in relation to that? So the main character of Magician's First Death is a magician, a magic user. And she kind of she's using her magic in the beginning of the series to kind of freelance for the mob because of stuff that happened to her in her childhood and kind of some abandonment stuff. And she's sort of always been told that she's just kind of fundamentally bad. But her arc over the course of the series is kind of unlearning that. So that's what I thought about a lot with her. Like, what are the things that would have to have happened to her to make her feel that way, and where is she kind of emotionally at the beginning of the story, and what are the kinds of things that have to happen to her to cause that kind of emotional shift?
No, I love. We were talking about when we were talking back and forth on emails, and you were telling me how this is the new title for the book because it's more relevant to what you were doing. So the original, tell us what the original title was and what your thought process was for changing it, and how you arrived to the new title.
Yeah, the original title was A Warm and Violent Dusk, which actually is from a line from a poem that I wrote a couple years ago. And I felt like it kind of had a ring to it, and I felt like it kind of described the way that my main character, Rosette, ends up going to hell and making a deal with the devil. And I felt like that line kind of, it described the way that I envisioned hell being in the comic. But I also kind of had some concerns, like maybe it was too long and I wasn't totally married to it. And I actually had an editing session with Chris Staros, which was great, and talked to him about it, and he said, yeah, maybe something a little bit more descriptive of the comic would, I guess, resonate a little more. And I think that was definitely right. I think I wanted something that would be a little bit more attention grabbing, but also more descriptive of the comic.
Got you. So now tell us what the comic book is about. What is The Magic's First Death about?
Yeah. Okay. So, really early on, Rosette dies and makes a deal with the devil for a second chance at life. And the deal is that she has to corrupt a truly good soul. And if she can do that, then she can live and she can have time to try to change her ways so that when she dies for good, she goes to heaven. So she kind of sets off to do this, but discovers some things about herself. Her adoptive sister from the Magician's Guild she grew up in comes into town and causes some conflict. And over the course of kind of dealing with her, she learns some things about herself that makes her question all of the stuff that people have always told her about herself. And then she has to decide, is she going to follow through with the bargain or not? And what does that mean for her, kind of her afterlife?
That's cool.
Yeah,
thanks.
That's a nice concept.
Yeah, as you're talking, it's like, it's no wonder you're a fan of X-Files, but are you a fan of Supernatural?
I started watching it, and I just kind of got distracted with other stuff, and I haven't finished, but I'm sure it's something that I'm really gonna like.
Yeah, because I could see,
when
I was seeing you playing out, I was reflecting on what you were saying as if it was a film or a series,
Hmm.
because there were so many moving parts and so many layers just in that description.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have tons of I have tons of questions that I'm afraid to ask because I don't want to. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. Like, because there's just so much, right? Like this girl dies, and I'm wondering, was she always a magician, or was that something that came were those powers given to her in hell, or was she always a magician?
She was always. Her powers first kind of appeared when she was a young kid, but it was something she was born with.
Cool. And then my question is, how did she die? But you don't have to answer that if it's going to affect, if it's going to spoil anything in the story. Do not answer because I'd love to find out for myself also how she dies in the book.
My question would have been, well, still is. That's what's lingering in my head. Is if she has to almost like manipulate a soul for hell, how does her changing her life get her into heaven? That was like, wait, hold on. I was like, was God on vacation that week that you're doing this? Because that's like you just took one of his souls away.
I think that's the beauty of creative writing, right? Because, as the creator, you, Sarah, you know the answer to that, and you can play with that however you want. But it's part of the journey of discovering this character and the changes that they're going to go through as they have to go through this thing, So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I thought about too, that I think it's interesting that she kind of even buys into the idea that by like doing this bad thing, then she could eventually earn her way into heaven if she just has more time. And she questions like, well, even if I do this and I get more time on earth, am I ever going to be able to change my ways?
Right.
Do I have it in me?
Right. Because it also plays into the myth of, the devil being the great manipulator, right? So it's like, he can make you believe anything. Yeah, she'll definitely get into heaven.
That's a question too. We don't even know if she did it.
Right.
Maybe that would just negate everything and she would have ended up going back to hell anyway.
Right. Yeah, because he could just be totally just, trying to get over on her.
Yeah.
This book, which sounds interesting as all hell, pardon the pun.
Right.
When do you plan? When do you think it'll be out? Is it out now? How can we get our hands on it? Who is it being self-published? Is it being published to somebody? Tell us a little bit about the production of the book.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing crowdfunding for the first issue in the spring. I don't have the exact date yet. I'm hoping for sometime like probably mid-March. I'll be definitely posting all over social media when I have the exact date. And so then after I have the artwork finished for after the artist finishes the artwork for the first issue, I'll send it around to some smaller publishers and see if anything happens with that, and that would be amazing. The other alternative is I'll put it up digitally, probably on Comixology and Webtoon.
Right. Yeah. And how long are you planning it to be? Like, what are you thinking as far as is it going to be separate issues? Is it going to be one big, graphic novel, or how are you planning on doing it?
The plan is 6 issues.
6 issues. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. That's about right. 6 issues.
Yeah, because you could do the 6 issues and then you can collect it all into one big graphic novel.
Yeah, which would be great.
Yeah.
Now, do you have all of it written? Is it all written and ready to go, or are you still kind of writing? And you can be sending them?
I have it written. Yeah, I'm still doing some final editing, but for the most part, I have it written.
That's awesome. It sounds like a great book. And you did send me some of those images. I think Sam's got them also. I know that you changed artists, right? Like it's not the same artist. I think there's you're by the time the crowdfunding campaign will probably be a different artist. But the artwork looks amazing. I mean, whoever yeah, I think you found them on Fiverr. I think you mentioned amazing stuff. So
yeah, the artist who. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Keep interrupting you. The artist who did the character sketches was on Fiverr, and those I was definitely happy with. The pages, that was a different artist. I connected with him on Facebook, and he's great. I just don't know. My only question is I don't know about scheduling and what availability will be like for him after the crowdfunding, because if that's not happening till March. So that just hasn't been solidified yet.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the plight of every writer, right? We're at the mercy of the artist. Like when you finish your story, but will he be able or she be able to draw it for me in time? And hopefully all of that gets squared away, because I would definitely love to see this book. And when it's out, you definitely have somebody who's going to definitely purchase a copy, because that sounds really cool. What's the name of the main character again?
Rosette.
Rosette. Any reason for the name? Do you like? How did you come up with the name?
I liked it, and I felt like it was kind of fitting for who she was. It's a name she gives herself. She leaves the Magician's Guild at 14 and gives herself a new name shortly after. And I thought it's kind of theatrical. It's the kind of name that if you're renaming yourself at that age, you might choose.
No, sounds good. I like that there's a story behind it as well. I'm telling you, this thing sounds like it's full of just little Easter eggs and nuggets throughout the book. So I'm happy, and I'm glad that you came on the show to tell us about it. Listen, when your crowdfunding campaign goes up, let us know, because we'll definitely would love to have you back on the show, and we could talk a little bit more about it.
Definitely, I'd love to be back.
That's awesome. Well, do you have anything else planned? Any future plans? Anything else that you're working on?
The next thing that I'll probably be working on is a one-shot for the Top Cow talent search.
Oh, cool.
I don't know really anything about what I'm going to be writing for it yet, except that they're just looking for scripts, self-contained stories for Cyberforce.
Nice.
So I'm gonna have to do some thinking about that, but that's the next thing I plan to work on.
I think they just had a big crowdfunding campaign for Cyberforce, didn't they? They had like all of the issues or something they were doing, I think, on Kickstarter, something like that.
I think I saw that, and I wonder if that was connected to why they chose to do it for the talent search. But
they might be bringing all that stuff back. But good luck with that. Hopefully that's something that happens. I mean, you have a lot of work out there already. I know that you had sent us when I first talked to you. You had something called Women at Warp, which is like a Star Trek kind of blog. Are you still doing that? Are you still contributing to that blog?
Yeah, I've been contributing there for a year and a half now, I guess, and still contributing. I have a blog that I'm going to write towards the end of the month for them about 7 of 9.
Oh,
Wow,
nice.
Yes. That's awesome.
Another one of my favorite characters.
Yes. She has a cult following.
Yeah, absolutely. Before you came on, Sarah, Sam and I were having this whole discussion about burning out and how sometimes, artists and writers and stuff. How do you avoid burnout?
I think part of it, is giving myself time and coming back to something if I'm starting to feel burned out, or working on something else. One of the things that I do like about having the chance to do blogs and poetry and comics, comics are what I'm most focused on, but being able to have those kind of other outlets if I'm feeling blocked with my comic definitely helps a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think just thinking about the ideas that I want to do. I have like journals and journals of ideas written down. And when I write these ideas down, like a premise for a story, I'm so excited about it. But it can be a while till you can get around to it. But I think kind of just coming back and revisiting some of those, and even if it's not something that I'm going to start working on immediately, just remembering that I was excited about it can be helpful.
Yeah, no, I agree. And any chance you bring that fairy story back that you wrote, the first one you wrote that you never did anything with? Any chance you may be working on that again, or is that kind of like? I do
want to do a high fantasy. I have a different idea for a high fantasy that I think I like better than that original high fantasy. And I think I'll probably go to that one instead. But I do want to come back to high fantasy at some point.
Awesome. Well, listen, like I said, whenever you want to come back, let us know. If you want to promote the Kickstarter on our show, by all means, you're more than welcome to come back. And I really appreciate you responding and agreeing to be on the show, because this was fun, and we'd love to have you back for sure.
Oh, thanks. It was a lot of fun. I love to come back.
So where can people reach you if they want to get in touch with you and want to learn more about what you do?
The best place is probably on Instagram. My handle is Sarah Cooke Writer, Sarah with an H, Cooke with an E. The comics handle, which I just changed now that I changed the title, is MFD Comic. And I have a Substack. That's if anyone wants to sign up for my mailing list, that's where that's happening right now. It's just substack.com/Sarah Lindsay Cooke, Lindsay with an E.
Cool, yeah. A lot of that stuff will be on the show notes at the bottom as well, so people can definitely reach you and go there. But Sarah, thank you so much. It's been a blast. We'll definitely have you back. Good luck with everything. You sounds like you got a lot going on, and that's awesome. Stay busy.
Oh,
all
thanks.
Right?
You got it. Thank
all
you.
Right. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. This was great.
You got it.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Oh, you too. Bye.
All right. So that was
awesome.
That was Sarah Cooke. Really good. Let me get that out of the way. Bong. I always do that last. I loved that was the most, I guess, attention grabbing description.
Right? Elevator pitch.
Yes, because I saw it all. You know how many times we have guests and it's hard to see what they're trying to translate because they take so long and it's so broad. She was able to walk you through the meat,
points.
The heart of the
like
the selling
points. Yeah,
yes.
she hit. You're like, wait, what? She does what? And now what? And she's like, when you like, it's funny how you caught that too, where she says you have to convert like a really good soul.
I was like,
what?
I was like, wait, because I said, did you hear that guy? Are you gonna allow that? I was like, because that's the guy that I know.
That's one of those things that I saw on like What's in the Box.
Yes.
That you would be like, wait a minute, you'd totally be questioning that as soon as it comes up. Like it would be one of those things. But it was great how she was able to do that, and then basically just the questions in our minds. She's like, wait, what? How? Like it's so good. It's so good. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, March can't come soon enough with all that stuff. But hopefully we'll be able to get her back on the show and we can talk a little bit more about it. But that was a very good, like you said, it's probably one of the best elevator pitches, right? It was like one of those pitches you're like, wait, what? Yeah, I want to read that book.
Yeah. It was really good. I mean, she should do voiceovers for those audiobooks for like children's books. She has a really great voice for that. But no, I mean, I think really solid storytelling. Just I can see that just from just talking to her. Check out the website. Links in the summary. Thank you, Sarah, for coming on Catch the Craze. Yes. There's a lot of talent out there, and we just have the benefit of being able to meet and talk to all of them.
Yeah, no, big time. Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah. And if you guys are interested in watching this episode, subscribe, because it's going to be up forever. It doesn't go away. Yes. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, like, comment on it. And I think, don't forget to also hit the link on the below there and make sure you subscribe and follow the pre-launch pages that we have up there for Disneyland My Toilet and for The Adventures of Wonderduck. Both of them are there now. So
and if you're listening on any of the audio streaming platforms, whether it's iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora, Podbean, just subscribe to the YouTube channel. All the links, if you want to know more about the guest, all the links are in the summary on the YouTube channel. And recommend it to a friend. And I appreciate every single one of you. And if you're listening to us on Spotify or any of these other, make sure you rate us, give us a rating on all those platforms, and so that the world, the more that people rate and give us 5 stars or 5 hearts or whatever it is the platform provides, the higher up we go in the platform for exposure wise. So anything you can do to help the boys of the craze keep it moving, keep it popping, we would love it and appreciate it. Again, thank you all for watching, thank you for subscribing. With that said, I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
I'm George the Dreamer Medina.
And we are...
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy.
Acquiesce.
No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met him. Say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh,
You are listening to
How he
Catch
described me?
the
He
Craze.
said, I'm the...
You're
What?
listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.
Candy girl,